All right, we're out streamer fishing today. This is pre-spawn time. Yay! Not a cloud in the sky. We're gonna see what happens. Starting with the R8 9'7" weight with the 200 grain 24 foot or 25 foot sink tip. And I'm doing the 7. This is kind of the one time a year I like it because I'm doing a lot of smaller 4-inch flies, and the water's really low, so I kind of like the 7 weight this time of year. But there's very few uses, like I've talked about before. You know, I'm usually a lot of 6 and 8, but this time of year, this is one of my windows. I like it. A lot of smaller flies. Basically, we're in extreme low water time of year, so you know, we'll pick around, fish a little bit of everything. One of the big things about fishing pre-spawn too is, like, if you have knowledge base on where fish spawn, they're going to be starting to move to those areas. So, you know, I always fish those areas. You'll never see a bed there, but the females and the males will come into those areas early to kind of protect their area that they are going to spawn. And that's kind of the hope, you know, that you come across some that are just out looking to kill stuff. And some days it works, some days it doesn't, but we try. So it's a lot of long casting in super low water. We're on a big river today, which is really nice. I haven't done much of this stuff. I like long casts because you're trying to prospect as much as you can. With the water as low as it is too, you know, the further from the boat you can get, the better off you are. If you're only doing 30, 40, you're gonna probably struggle a little bit. You start getting 60 or more, you're gonna have more opportunity. So I try to keep, this is kind of, you know, the big river stuff, as much as I was pushing it out in front, fishing the little river stuff, when I'm doing the big river stuff, the big thing is more perpendicular angle. So I'm kind of drawing a straight line off the bow of the boat to the bank so that I can, you know, get that head to turn going down and just start kind of working it more broadside. And then you're showing more of the fly to the fish as well. And if your boat position is correct, then you shouldn't be spooking a ton of fish. I started with the little egg yarny thing, crawdaddy color. It's been working. We'll see if it continues. It probably won't because I'm fishing today. And I might actually catch something that bites, unlike one of my clients the other day named Christopher Stauffer that will just broadcast to the world. Fails miserably every time down here. I asked him why he didn't like this section of river. He doesn't want to come fishing here. And he said because, after thinking about it, because he had so many bad memories of messing every fish up. So there you go. That's my boy Chris. And so, like, doing this pre-spawn stuff though, I'm still hitting some of this real shallow wood. Especially in low light conditions like this, they'll pop up and they'll be in some weird stuff. Water temps have cooled now, so they do kind of scatter around a little bit more. It's not like, you know, midwinter when they're kind of bulking. The majority of them are in deeper pockets. This is kind of, they can kind of scoot on out and be anywhere. Now you can be over a little further, because once I get on these grass beds, they ain't real good. I know I'm popping the rod up a lot more than I like to through here, but I'm just trying to keep that line up off the bottom. So when you see my rod get out of position, that's what's happening. You know, in a perfect world, I can just keep it like this with the rod down and everything. But every once in a while, you got to lift that fly line up and keep that fly. You know, I'm fishing a lot of 1 to 2 foot of water. So that's just, you know, part of the deal. Then we'll get in tight there. Yeah, a little bit more right, so I can make this cast coming up underneath this tree. There's a pocket up underneath that tree. Yeah, so when you see that rod getting out of position, there's a reason. It's usually to keep things up and shallower. And I'll do this, you know, a lot of places I fish will be shallow. That's plenty. So you just kind of deal with it. But, you know, just as limited back cast as possible, get it in as tight as you can. I mean, that's the objective here. A lot of people, you know, like I always say, man, casting's a big part of this. Slow it down, get it up in there. That came right over 4 inches of wood. And since I had a little bit tight of a line, I could pull it right on out of there. and not get hung up. So I'm always starting in the shallowest stuff. Now I got a tree that sticks out towards the middle here, and I'm going to try to fish the face of it. So I'm going to kind of come back up, get my line in a position that my strips will keep it going along there. And he did not show up today. But you'll notice I'm giving this fly extended pauses in these deeper runs. You know, that I kind of try to feed them out there. I always want to try to get them to come off the bank and then feed them. You know, if they're chasing it, a lot of times you can just give it a little longer pause, and that's where you're going to bust those fish. They'll just kill it on that stall. So I'm giving those long pauses mid-river while it's coming into me, hoping to trigger the fish before it gets too close to the boat. And I'm able with a, you know, this is not easy to do because you're shooting real short back casts to get your, you know, in order to fish long lines. So it's just, you know, it takes being an angler to do some of these things right. You'll see I got about 20 feet on the back, but then I can do my 40 or so on the forward. Long pause out there as it's coming up the shelf. I can barely see it, but I have a decent idea on what's going on here. And there you go, 20-foot back cast, 50 foot on the forward. Sure helps. I'm unable to guide like this a lot, you know, it's a lot more 30 to 40 and keeping people clear on their back casts. But when I can fish, I can open it up and do it. Fish. Oh, there's a little peanut, just zapped it. Nothing, no great loss there. That was a 10-inch stocker trash fish. Now you can start sliding a little bit right. Yeah, I'll fish it. I'll fish it. I'll hit one through this tail out. See, I'm just hitting the tail out here, you know, where you're coming up into shallow gravel. And it's all right, dude. You see fish come out of such weird spots. This time of year is the time of year that I see them. Like, I've caught 2-foot fish and bigger this time of year out of 1 foot of gravel. It's just, there's like some transition going on, you know, and then there's a certain point when water temp gets to a certain spot where they're all heading to gravel. Oh God, that was a better one. Caught me off. I saw something and then he kept coming and grabbed it. That was like one of those 16, 18. One thing people do a lot too is they rush into their next cast instead of fishing their full cast out. Man, I do so much better fishing it slower and making your presentations last. You know, you're fishing clear water typically, dude, they can see it and they'll hunt it, especially big fish. Big fish hunt baits further. You know, they want to make sure it's a real food. So they don't just jump on it first pull typically, unless it's just that suicide day, which, you know, if you're lucky, there's one of those a month. A lot of times you got to play them. And the bigger they get and the older they are, the more that matters.
Fat baby.
Giant hog. So you can see I've had a bunch of twists in my line today. They're starting to work themselves out. That's just that rod and line being coiled up. A big thing that can help you is just cast into the end of the line, all the line you have out, as frequently as possible. That's keeping those twists out. You know, if you don't, you're pinching every twist in between your hand and the reel, and then it just spins it all. So you want to be able to clear all your line when you can.
It's funny that there was a big one right by this access.
Yeah, it's one of the deepest holes for a while.
Yeah.
There's one in every deep hole, and you can't fish bait down here. Therefore,
There's McKinley's the bait, right?
yeah. Well, that wood should be a little.
It's in line here. I know where it's at.
Yep, fish. Another brown?
Yeah, it's not bad.
There's like 5 wild trout down here. You gotta be nice to them, dude. I'm just saying. There's like 5.
This hook isn't doing him any justice.
Grab it by the bend of the hook and lift up. And shake. There you go.
Oh, wait a minute.
Exactly. Like, dude, don't be afraid of that. These fish are eating that shit. That's what they're doing.
Dude, there's got one.
That used to be a good rainbow trout spot. Oh.
There's a rainbow trout. You
Yeah, that used to be a good rainbow trout
You
spot.
called that like it was
Yeah.
clockwork.
You know how many times I threw an intonator in there? And was like, oh, there it goes. Mano.
Nice.
Mano. Looks like a brown though. That's good. Brown trout? Tell me. Yay! That means it's a wild trout. Rainbow trout though, isn't it?
No, it's brown. Yeah.
There you go. Yay! Yay! Yeah, I thought maybe one would be shoved up in that wood, but that's all you can really expect in that stuff this time of year.
He's ready to go. Off he goes.
Well, it was not good as expected, but we did try. We mustered up a few fish. Here's a couple things. So like we went through, that egg yarn head guy to start. We did some olive and white and yellow smaller baits. I think we threw a little bigger one for a second. We threw that bigger flash tail deceiver, which is laying over there. We couldn't get anything to go on anything big. The water is as low as I've ever seen it. Gin clear. When we ended up switching to, we switched to a really old traditional fly called a spruce fly, and that got bit pretty good. It really replicates a dace minnow real nice. So that got bit. So we caught some fish. I didn't see any good fish on it. The other day I had a client down here and we did get some nice fish to go on that smaller bait fish pattern. So we figured we'd give it a try and caught fish, but not the right fish. Anyway, we're still prefrontal it's prefrontal today, but it's still, it's 80 degrees out now and we're at the end of September. So this is adverse conditions to say the least, but a change is coming, and that should be the change that sparks the pre-spawn bite. We're still sitting in 62 to 64 degree water, which is a little warmer than I like it, but at least you got to see a little bit of the presentations and stuff that we walked through earlier with kind of having longer casts, downsizing based on water conditions and some of the casting angles and stuff like that. Hopefully some of that stuff helped. appreciate it if you hit the like, subscribe button. That helps me stay motivated. And hopefully we'll get a day where they actually bite at some point this year. But it's been a grind. Thanks.